𝐒𝐒𝐑𝐄 is very much a show about, I'd say, less about the end of the world and more about what does humanity do in a really dark time,
Really appreciate you taking time to chat about 𝐒𝐒𝐑. Fantastic new sci-fi series coming to Apple TV, but without any spoilers, look, this is so much more than just your run-of-the-mill sci-fi post-apocalyptic. There are so many layers to this show, much like a 𝐒𝐒𝐑.
Oh, much like 144 layers to this show. Yeah, man. Look, it's we try to get something for everyone, It's
I agree. Yeah.
It's action and it's a philosophical show, It asks really, really big questions about what truth means to a society, and there's romantic comedy or romantic drama. I don't know, it depends how you spin it. And it's a thriller, and I think hopefully it will keep people on the edge of their seats.
I would say from experience it does.
Yeah, okay, great.
I was very much enthralled. And I think it's interesting because what you're saying, what we're talking about here is how 𝐒𝐒𝐑 very much, this story of this society living underground in the 𝐒𝐒𝐑. They've been there for generations. They don't know what's above. All they know is what they've been told and what are in these records. And it's funny because when you talk about a post-apocalyptic show or something like that, I was talking about it with a fellow writer, and their go-to was The Walking Dead, which is something you were on. And I was like, it's so interesting that that's kind of become the archetype for many people. And so for you, someone who was on that show and is in this show, what was kind of did you have any differing perspectives on how the two of them approach that concept?
That concept of the end of the world? Yeah.
It's very broad.
Look, I think they're very different. I think The Walking Dead was about surviving, and it's people who have been in our world and everything has gone to shit, and they're just trying to make it to the next day. And 𝐒𝐒𝐑, in many ways, it's a utopia. There's no unemployment. People don't worry about racism and sexism and all these things, and the society functions really well. But, things are being hidden from them, and the truth is not being shared. And humanity is as deep and dark and dystopian as an environment can get. There will always be people like Lukas that are curious and are hopeful. And so I think 𝐒𝐒𝐑 is very much a show about, I'd say, less about the end of the world and more about what does humanity do in a really dark time, how do we survive and how do we thrive?
And that inquisitiveness that you're talking about, I think that's necessary for propelling, a people and a culture. And I think that that's something that the show captures really well too, is that need to know is more important than so many other things for a lot of the characters.
It's what makes us human, right? As we dream and we want to know where we came from and where we're going, Yeah. And I think in a funny way, I guess, in the 𝐒𝐒𝐑, there were some of these societal things have been solved, right? There's relative equality, and that almost maybe works in the founder's detriment because it gives the people a chance to really think, well, okay, I'm not worried about how to eat today, so let me think about, why I'm here. When you're surviving, why you're here doesn't really matter. You can't eat, avoid the plague, the zombies, whatever it is, and just make it to the next day.
That's such a fascinating perspective, and that I hadn't considered before.
Wow, well, there you go.
I do, but man, you're a genius. It's funny, it makes so much sense to me because I think about that. Think about when life is just about survival. When you go through those time periods where it's nothing but survival, and you're just thinking about the day to day, and then you finally maybe make it through that season, and you get into a portion of your life where you're like, okay, well now let's deal with everything that was underlying that whole time. It makes a lot of sense as to why these people the wheels start to turn and they want to know what's going on and figuring it out. That's really fascinating. Had you read the books before doing the show, or did you read them at all? Or
I think actors, were like little thieves, right? I just wanted to steal from anywhere that I can get. So I hadn't read them before I got the part. And then once I found out I got the part, and I was getting really scared about how I was going to do this, I was like, let me read the books, let me read the scripts, go outside and stare at people and try and find things that I can use to make Lucas. 'Cause there's always something useful from everywhere. So yeah, I devoured them and marked them up and found lots of interesting things that I thought would make it in the story and things that did not, but that also kind of fuels your imagination.
Very cool. No, I appreciate the answer. And I'm glad we were able to talk about this without spoiling anything for anybody, hopefully.
Yeah, that's what they're watching me for. They're making sure.
Thank you, Avi, so much. I really appreciate your time today, sir.